Hello, everybody, and welcome to One Day Today. We're at episode 50. We made it. This has been a wild ride. I'm really excited about this episode. This is part two of our special episodes this week, where we are introducing our board of directors. We have some amazing people in our circle, and I'm just like so honored and inspired by just the amazing hearts that are just surrounding us. And I'm just really excited to introduce them to you. And I'll start how I did on Tuesday. Is this organization, this movement, is built on a mission. That we want to bring you and me and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. And that's a choice that we make in every moment, in every action we take, in every space we exist. We have an opportunity to stand in that possibility. So I'm gonna just jump right in because we have so many people that are just in our board of directors who are just incredible, and I'm just excited to share them with you. So I am gonna first check in. Let's say hello to Nadine. Let's introduce Nadine. This is our Nadine is our she's in Canada and our international director in Canada. Hi, Nadine. Can you hear me, Nadine?
Are you with us?
Well, I wanted to just say thank you for joining us, Nadine. I really wanted to just give you an opportunity to share your how you came here and how you just showed up in the world to being part of something greater than yourself. Like how did you get here, and like what is one day to you, and what do you see as possible with one day? But I'm gonna just give you the spotlight here, and just I want to hear you share your story.
Thank you so much, Abram. What a pleasure to be here. And this has just been a fabulous opportunity. And I just thank you for being a part of this amazing one day organization. You guys are doing just amazing things. And it's just an honor to be a part of what you guys are doing and just making a difference in the world. I was worked as a geologist for many years, and my long story short is I worked in corporate for almost a decade and got sick and basically almost died from not living my purpose and my passion and my truth here on earth. And it caused me to pivot into coaching and helping people and really transforming lives, starting with as over 12 years ago, starting as a parenting coach and life coach and business coach, leadership trainer, and now working on various boards, including here at the One Day Movement organization. It's just a true pleasure to be here. And so what we're doing, what my passion and one of my greatest, I guess, accomplishments, but I guess the reason why I'm here is I really just feel a really big pull for us to do some great things in the world right now. The world really needs greater awareness around, love and peace and harmony and just really human connection in general, just bringing people together to support one another, support other organizations, support other people that are doing amazing things to help more people in the world. One of my biggest, or I have many pillars that I want to be or involved with one day. One of them is women, children, mental health. Those are the three biggest ones that we're focusing on right now is really, and minorities, just really giving people a voice that really need a voice right now that deserve to be heard. Their voices deserve to be heard, to be really valued and know that they matter. Like, again, that's the whole thing. We work with people, and it's all about working with people we know, like, and trust. And it's about, this organization is so aligned with my mission of really just making that positive difference in the world and spreading, that love and harmony and just awareness around how can we help one another, how can we help other organizations out there do great, amazing things together, because we can do more together than we can apart. And for me, it's really about helping bring that into Canada as the international director here in Canada, bringing that into organizations here that might not have the opportunity to be able to help certain people. We want to open the doors, like just literally allow the doors to open wide to bring in people of, all backgrounds, all races, all different, things that they're going through in their life, people that are struggling, people that are going through things that, maybe they wouldn't necessarily have any outlets for support if it wasn't for our organization or other organizations that are going to be looking at, partnering together to really bring together people and unite them. It's about uniting people and making that positive difference in the world. It's through human connection, because through COVID, through all these things that we've been going through these past 6 months, there's been a tremendous amount of change in our world, and not only in our world, but individually, in our relationships, in our jobs, in our careers. There's been many people I've worked with that have completely changed their careers. There's been losses, not only of lives, but losses of, careers, and just so many things people are struggling. And my heart just goes out to all of these things in the world, all of these communities that, have been going through devastations, through natural disasters, through illness, just all of these different areas right now, that I think it's more important than ever to bring us all together to be able to help, again, communities, organizations that wouldn't necessarily have the opportunity to shine and to really make that difference in the world. So I think the One Day organization, the One Day movement internationally, for its work that it's doing already. We're just getting started. We're just starting to get our word out about our organization and what we do, and are looking for people to partner with, amazing leaders, heartfelt leaders who really just want to make that difference in the lives of others and care about, the people who need it most. It's about, again, the voice, giving people the voice, their voices, allowing their voices to be heard in the world, in really sharing that with others as much as we can, because it's like that domino. We've heard of that before, the domino effect, where you affect one person and sometimes it might affect 3 people from there. And over the course of the years, I was reading this a while ago, that it affects, over the course of a lifetime, for one person that you've empowered or shone some light on, or hope or faith or peace or joy, that can impact a minimum of 5,000 people just in that one person's lifetime, over the course of their lifetime. And that's just for an average person. Just think of other people you might connect with that, they might already have influence in organizations, or as a leader, or as a CEO, or as somebody who is an educator, principal of a school, a musician of a band, whatever the case is, right? We all have this ability to impact lives in such a big way. And right now is this time in history that there's never been an opportunity, a greater opportunity than there is now, to be able to reach out and to help and to unite and to bring together all of these amazing people of the world to make a difference in a way like we never have before. So I thank you, Abram. I thank you, the founder of the One Day organization, and all of the other amazing board members that we have. We have a phenomenal team of board members and directors on our team. And I am just feeling so grateful and blessed to be a part of this organization and be a part with, working with all of these other amazing individuals to help make this change possible. So I thank you for that. I thank you for the opportunity to come and share a little bit more about what we're doing. Like I said, we're starting what I'm working on is empowerment of women. We're going to just start working on some fundraising, start involving some organizations. Mental health is another thing that we're starting on here very, very soon. We're looking for mental health trainers. We're going to bring in training organizations as part of our organization of, giving back to the community and helping support people who are struggling with mental health, and just really helping empower people where they need it most, and just, again, shine that light on and hope, and purpose, because when you have a purpose. There was somebody I was speaking with. He was a global mental health and leadership expert, and he's written many books, And one of the things he said, if we can provide some sense of purpose for people, even if it's just the purpose for the day, that can really help transform their mindset into a positive mindset to help them get out of these downward spiraling and patterns that so many people are in right now of depression and anxiety and just these darker patterns that we've gotten into. That's just been such a struggle. So our goal is to help people get out of these old paradigms, these old patterns of their way of being, and break those chains and start creating this massive global paradigm shift towards greater unity and greater positive mental health, positive mindset, supporting one another. Again, the whole support, I support you, support me, let's support each other, that mentality, and you kind of letting go of the competition, the pedestals, just really knowing that no matter where you're at, we're all one and we're all in this together. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nadine. I just really appreciate you. Your generosity, your vigor. You're such a powerful, strong spirit and heart, and I really just appreciate just having you with us. You're just like what you were saying about shared purpose. Like that's what I believe right now. We have an enormous opportunity to create a new conversation that humanity rises together to be united in our diversity. I'm just so thrilled to have you and honored to just have you at the table. We're going to check back in you in just a moment here. I want to keep going down the line, and I want to next introduce Jacqueline Reinasek. She has an amazing experience just back to the civil rights movement. I'm so honored and excited to have you with us, Jacqueline. I want to just let you share and just speak your heart about how we cross paths, and just so excited about what we're going to create together. So without further ado, here's Jacqueline Reinasek.
Thank you. Abram, the one way that I found out about the One Day Movement is through Judy Feldhausen, who is also a part of your board and a vice president on it. And she said to me one day, Jacqueline, you've been talking about a world where it can be socially just and everybody's appreciated. And she said, I think this is something you really need to look at, because Abram has created something that I think is really a significant dream, and it's part of your dream to see a world much different than what it is right now. And so trusting her, I then decided to join the One Day Movement. And I'm greatly appreciative, Abram, for the time you spent with me and talking with me and kind of catching me up, since I'm a newer person to y'all's board. But I think one of the things I want to share with you today is I've spent my life in my professional career, 46 years, really trying to figure out how to bring myself to a place where I'm truly in the center of my source, or my soul being, every day. And I didn't begin that way. Many years ago, I used to have conversations with my mother, and she'd say, it's like you dig a hole in the ground and you put yourself in, and then you have to crawl back out again. And she said, I just don't understand, because she said, you have so many things that you're talented with, and how can you create that kind of self-esteem, or the lack of self-esteem? And so as the years went on, as a therapist, and then as a consultant for organizations, and then as as a coach today and facilitator of learning, I began to realize a number of things that I could offer people in my work that would really help them to move beyond where they are. So when I visualize what I think I do that could be a contribution to the movement, is I think I really see people as beautiful human beings, and that what they've done is they've overlaid their soul essence, their being, of the source, as you call it, their authentic self, with all kinds of patterns of behavior they have, and all kinds of other things they do, and the experiences they haven't emotionally processed through. And then what they have to do is we have to move away those things and to help them move forward. And so what I know that my company DTP Leadership does as well as me, is that what we do is we really teach people how to be really emotionally connected. Because I know that I never changed anything in my life or changed any of my behaviors, and unless I felt some despair about it or some uncomfortability about it, and then I would change that behavior. And so I wanted to find how can we change so that we don't have to be in pain all the time. Maybe we can laugh, maybe we can have joy, maybe we can have other experiences in our lives that allow us to emotionally process through things and then to be able to truly develop ourselves. And then I think the other thing that I started looking at in the 1990s was that I saw that people had habitual patterns of behavior. I certainly had them. I had things that I did that blocked me from building relationships with people, or I saw it in other people. And so I began to develop ways to assess those things and to be able to show people what they were doing. Because when I think people see what they're doing that doesn't help them be their authentic self, then they want to change it and they move forward. And I've seen some dramatic changes in people's lives. And I know for myself that what I think about every day is how do I lead myself as a spiritual being, not the workaholic I was in the past of always being identified with my work. And how do I maintain my spirituality and my spiritual beingness every day? And how do I do that? And how do I teach it to other people? So I know that I love the work I do because I think it teaches people how to be leaders of themselves and then how to teach other people how to lead themselves. Because somehow we've got to get connected enough with each other that we spread, like was mentioned before, so that I can have an impact of 5 or 10,000 people because I touch other people that can impact other people. And I know that some of the most important work I do is to truly develop in one organization at a time a great appreciation for diversity and how diversity can be such a benefit to all our organizations. And I've spent a lot of years figuring out how to move organizations from affirmative action to valuing difference to managing diversity and then to create a socially just work environment. And so when I think about how I define a socially just work environment, I think it's really what one day movement is about in a lot of ways. Because I look at if I can create a world where people are alive and they really are committed to learning and growing and changing individually and collectively, we can really create a world that is collaborative and kind and thoughtful rather than what we're seeing today. And I know one of the things I thought one of the benefits was COVID was all of a sudden the world started talking to each other because we had to see where all the possibilities were for us to learn how to work with each other so we could find a solution to COVID. And so I really got hopeful as I watched things happen and countries working with each other and talking to each other. And I've known something for a long time. I really focused on not only mental health, but physical health in a lot of people over a lifetime. And I've really worked with a lot of people who've had serious illnesses and then moved out of that state of being. And so what I saw was that scientists who were so focused on solving issues were all working together to find the answers that we could have for all of us in the world. Because the bottom line is, unless we have a vaccine for all of us in the world, then we're still going to have challenges. So to me, there is a need for unity and oneness and connection. And so one of the ways I think of things too is that I spent a lot of years and have spent over 50 years doing diversity work. And I I'll tell you a real brief story. I had an experience when I was 9 years old with a African American nurse, and it transformed my life because we were treated very badly that day. And my parents stood up and they said, "We don't treat people like that, Jacqueline, and we don't have that in our home." And because we love people, and everybody that's different has a right to be different, we can appreciate their difference. And so as the time went on, when the civil rights movement came, I was very much invested in it and the feminist movement. And I think of one of the most dramatic times that I had was talking to some people that had such a different viewpoint from me. One of the most dramatic that I had was with a member of a clan that I just didn't have any idea how to even imagine believing some of the things he did. And yet, as I sat with him and I talked with him, I talked less and I just listened to him for 2 hours and 40 minutes. And what happened was when he finished and I'd ask all the questions I could possibly find out about the Ku Klux Klan and what happened, then I said to him, "Would you listen to me and listen to some of my perceptions about what we can do in this community when it has been so marred by the death of an African American here?" And he looked at me and he said, "Well, you listen to me. I've never had any white woman ever do that with me." And he said, that isn't a member of the Klan. And he said, "Of course you can talk to me." So he patiently listened to me for an hour and 40 minutes. And then we both came to the conclusion and talked a lot about how we could contribute to the community. And he became a force in that and made some major changes. I think there are other times that I've had discussions with people who have a different political view from me or other things. And I think what happens is we get into so much fear that we're going to lose something rather than realize we can gain something by really talking with each other and learning how to speak to each other in ways that are really respectful and caring and supportive to each other. So, to me, the one day movement, as I look at the pillars and really look at them, I'm very interested in women's issues, and I have spent many, many years doing all kinds of things to support women's issues coming to the forefront and things being changed for women. I also have a concern about the homeless in the world and how do we take care of those individuals? What do we do with them? And another thing I know that is important to me is the LGBT community. Since I am married to a woman and have been involved for 26 years with her, and we have a son and we have other family members that have very much been a part of our family. So it's a family of choice. But I think that what happens is that there are many other things that I look at the pillars I'm interested in. The finance part of it and the way to support this dream of yours. I happen to be a dream coach and I help other people design strategies and do all kinds of things to meet their own dreams. And when you talk about it, Abram, there is no way in the world that I can't get excited and get thrilled about being involved in your idea and just amazed at how you think and what you do. And so it was a wonderful conversation for me yesterday with you, and I look forward to many more. Because I think your dream is essential. I don't know about other people, but I am tired of watching fighting and lying and all kinds of deception when all it takes is all of us to quit doing that and go back to the force within each of us that can love, can appreciate, can understand and hear without being fearful that somehow I'll be transformed or changed in a way that I won't be comfortable with. Because to me, when people transform, they reach that higher self. They reach that connection with what I call a higher power. It so happens for me, it's God. There are many other people that have different views of it, and I support their views. Because I think we have to stop debating what the differences are and start appreciating how our lives can be enriched by those differences and how they can reach the heart of our being. And I remember a conversation I had with someone that he and I just are so different in so many ways. And we just started talking about our lives and how we'd grown up and what we felt about things that were going on. And, he and I had differences of opinion. But one of the things we agreed to do was we said, can we talk and discuss and continue to get to know who we are and learn who we are and what we can do together rather than getting anxious and rejecting something or creating a barrier between each other. And so today I think of that conversation and I think of him and I think we're very good friends. I think we love each other. I think we know who we are. He has some of his thoughts and ideas and I have some of mine. But I think what happens is we learn and have learned how to appreciate each other. Now, I'll admit the things I've done in my life have not always been easy, Abram. But I think the reason I am at One Day in the One Day movement is because y'all are doing something globally that I've wanted to happen in America and in other countries. And so I look forward to talking about how we can create a socially just world that really supports people being in their dreams, being in the essence of their being or the source, as you call it. I feel honored to be accepted. I'm often awed by what you say to me, and I feel humble as well because I see myself as someone that continues to grow and change, and I know one day it's going to help me do that. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak and to be a part of this organization. And I look forward to meeting many of the board members and having more conversations with them. So I thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Your whole story is so inspiring. You're such a champion for peace and love, and I just acknowledge you, just the work that you've done, and just for so long. And we're standing on the work that you've been doing for all these years, and I'm just so excited to build and create this new paradigm, this new conversation that we're all better off because we're all better off when we can really just see ourselves in our neighbor and allow them to see themselves in us. And what's possible when we actually stand there and when we actually are leaders, as you were saying, are leaders of ourselves, and take responsibility for the connectedness that we desire. Take responsibility for what's possible right now when we actually stand in creating beauty and love and joy and wonder in every space we exist. So I'm just feel so privileged and honored and excited to have you with us. So thank you for sharing, Jacqueline.
Well, there's one other thing I want to say before we end, and that is I look forward every day to having serenity and peace in my life. And so that's the thing that I think I've finally learned how to do. Because when external forces come in that could poison my thought beings and myself, then I have many tools and many things I use to move them away, learn from them, and move on. And in some ways, I think you've learned that at a much younger age than me. And I look forward to having more conversations with you. Thank you.
Me as well. I'm so excited to continue the conversation. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Next, I am going to introduce dear friend, our treasurer, and also my roommate. So he's actually right here. I want to introduce Ted Wilhelm.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here. Thank you for having me, Abe, and letting me be a part of One Day. I had the good fortune of meeting Abe and becoming a part of One Day at the end of last year. I was looking for a place to stay, had an ad on Craigslist, and had this amazing person call me and let me know that they have a room for me. And yeah, he told me about what he was doing, creating this nonprofit, and why he wanted to do it. And I've got to learn and grow with him since then. Abe's amazing. He just watching him grow and learn has inspired me to do the same. And as I noticed him progressing, I've noticed myself progressing as well. And I see One Day becoming anything we want it to. We have an amazing board, amazing group of people, and the way he was able to transition from the idea of having the One Day festival event this year. Obviously, once COVID happened, that wasn't a possibility. So the fact that he was able to set up this virtual stage, I've got to tune into a couple of them, and he's had some amazing humans on here as well that have shared wonderful stories and have inspired me. And that's what we all need. We need a little bit of inspiration. Jacqueline, I am glad you brought up mental health. I've struggled with it, bipolar, and I went through a very difficult emotional challenge recently. And thankfully, I had Abe as well as Sophia. Thank you both for helping me through that. I can't imagine doing it without you. And so it's been about 10 years since I got diagnosed, and I was ashamed of it and wanted to deny it for the longest time. And so now I'm finally comfortable enough to talk about it and be open. And I hope to inspire others to do the same and realize when, everyone has their ups and downs. And the most important thing is having a good support system around you, your family, your friends, to be able to help you through those times. And I think that's what One Day can do for people, is it can be a support system to inspire and help people. And I look forward to seeing it come to fruition. Thank you, everyone. Here is Satya.
Hi, guys. I'm happy to be here. And thank you, Abram, for uniting everybody here. And I do wanted to speak a lot, but I have a problem here, which is Abe spoke a lot about what is it, and then Jack is, and everyone is. Last time Matthew also spoke about it, so it seems like I'm run out of words. So I don't want to keep repeating the same thing of what everyone said. I I would like to start with a small quote. A day is not wasted if a memory is made. I'm really, really happy that this is a great memory for all of us here. That this how such a beautiful hearts are joining hands together. Jack talked about how spiritual this could be. Honestly, this is like one heart, one soul, one world. This is a vision of one day, and one day is today. And when we all join hands together, especially with the great minds like Sophia and Jack and Ted, Matthew, Nadine, and Shiva Kumar, and all of us standing here, and we definitely miss Heather on this stage somehow. Uh, like this beautiful hearts is making all of us join hands together. We all have excellent qualities in some strong area, and guess what? We're all going to invest that and make this world much better. My girlfriend and I, we have talked about certain things in the last couple of days. I was just like kind of, all we are looking for is good food, shelter, medicine, and good education. And we still need one more foundation like us to achieve that. And I believe this would be the last foundation working in those areas and will make all these things happen and join hands together and our hearts together will definitely uplift the world as one. Thank you so much once again for the opportunity and love you guys. Big hug.
Thanks again, brother.
Thanks, man.
That was our president, Dr. Satya Gopalan. I'm just so thrilled and inspired to have both Ted and Satya, and everybody in the circle is just inspiring me to stand in this vision. And it's something that Matthew said yesterday, or on Tuesday. I don't think any one of us actually have the entirety of the vision on our own. But it's about the co-collaboration of when we join heads, hearts, and join our hands together. That's what we can actually co-create this beautiful new world. In every place we exist, we can create beauty. We can create just seeds of possibility and joy, and just there's no end of what's possible. Now I want to introduce my dear friend and our director, Sofia Olivas. Hi, Sophia. Oops, there you are.
Hi.
Hi, good to see you today. Thank you for being with us.
Hi.
Hi, guys. I want to be at that house. I'm looking forward to coming over and being surrounded by music and love at that house. So thanks for having me. I've been so lucky to be on a couple of your different stages. And I know on some of those occasions we've talked about how you and I met Abram. So I had the profound pleasure of meeting Abram. Our paths crossed at the inception of this concept that you now see unfolding before you, this movement that is totally taking the world by storm. And what it is that I am building a smart city, one of the first smart cities out of shipping containers that provides affordable housing, that is going to be one of the first ones to be built on the blockchain. And on that quest, I came to a group called The Tipping Point, which is where Abram and I met. And The Tipping Point was it couldn't have been a more perfect way to meet. The Tipping Point is all about people and a belief that we were at this junction, at this intersection, at an inflection point where we're witnessing humanity come back to heart. There's a global timeout, there's a pandemic, and there is a recession that's affecting every soul on this planet. And we firmly believe that we are at a point where this is where leadership is called to rise. This is where humanity gets to shine. It's in these moments of trepidation and right at the precipice. And so Abram and I met at in that group, and we quickly formed a bond, and he told me about what he was going on. And I was absolutely enamored by this idea. And it's very much in alignment with our city. Our city at its core is centered around collaboration and around proving that there is absolutely much more lucrative way to go about doing business that directly results in the stewardship of each other and of the planet. And one thing that we are building in building a city is a community, a community that represents the diversification of our wonderful planet, that maximizes the usages of renewable energy, that has sustainable agriculture, where people through the token economy can basically offset their expenses, which is their shelter, their food, which is provided for in the community, and their energy costs. So all they have to do is focus on contributing back to the world, which is their businesses and their storefronts that they will have, that they'll be living right on top of. So that being said, Abram, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure on being in this journey with you and watching you create while you're flying the plane in the air, and watching you orchestrate all these incredible experts that I get to now sit on the board with, and bringing all these experts into the same thing of sand, and letting us all have a piece of co-collaborating and co-creating this with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. It's been such a, it feels like it's been years, but this all unfolded, in the end of last year and early this year, and COVID opened up a door, and Sophia's is my pivot expert among many things. She's helped me find, like everybody, COVID felt like a wall at first. You're like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do? I have these plans, and now this thing's happening in the world. And Sophia, you've always been there to just like remind me that when there's a source of something good happening, you can do it. It always works online as well. It doesn't have to just be physical. We're not limited by that, and we are definitely going to have a live event when the world opens back up. But thank you, Sophia, for just
It'll be probably at my city.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think, real quick, I want to check in with I'm going to bring everyone back to the table in just a moment here, but I just wanted to say hello to Matthew and let him chime in here, our other director, and who you have seen before many times on the stage. Hey, Matthew.
How's it going, brother?
It's going great, man. I just want to give you a moment to share any thoughts based on yesterday and today before we all just share together.
There's one thing that has been present as everyone else has been sharing, and everyone actually pointed to it as well. And Nadine with mental health, and Jacqueline with coming back to authenticity, and Sophia with a new way of doing business, a different way of doing business, and even Ted again with mental health, and Satya with the co-creation and coming together. And that is the fear that has stopped me in the past, and it seems to stop many people from actually allowing us to connect, to really truly connect heart to heart. And everyone seems to have a slightly different fear. Their journeys are all different. Their journeys are all unique, and that in part is what I love so much about this world. Like it's what makes it so spicy and saucy. But there is one particular fear that I'd like to really point out right now, and that is this idea of scarcity. And this is something that I've been focused on for years, but have just only recently, in like the last year or so, been able to concisely put into words. And that is the entirety of the world's systems today seem to be based on this idea that there is not enough to go around. And because that idea of there is not enough to go around, there's always going to be some without. And so in order to kind of like determine who gets what, there's competition. Competition is deemed as necessary so that the fittest survive. It's almost an evolutionary perspective in a way. And that idea of there's not enough has never really vibed. Like it's never really set. And the more I look at it, the more data I see, the more experience I have in this world, the more I talk to people, especially people on this board and in my day-to-day travels, it becomes more and more clear to me that we have never lived in a world of scarcity, that we've always lived in a world of abundance, that there's always enough to survive and even thrive. The only reason we seem to have scarcity, and I do say see because obviously I can't prove any of this, I'm not sure anyone could, but it seems very apparent to me the only reason scarcity exists is out of fear, out of greed. It is a man-made phenomenon. And if we as a species, if we as a people can get to a point where we do not feel the need to take more from the environment than we actually need to survive, and we work together, we co-create, we co-collaborate, then all of a sudden we are living in that different world. And it's not just us individually living one day as we are today, it's all of us as a species. And so saying all that, I feel like that ultimately is where I would like to spend most of my focus with One Day is really addressing that with people and really diving down into what is the source of their fear and showing them that there is another way.
Beautiful. Absolutely. It's that's kind of like like our own individual fear and our collective fears are ultimately what we've allowed to
Yeah.
paralyze us, and we have an opportunity to actually use our fear as an opportunity to transcend it, to transmute it, to transform it. And this is the new conversation.
And
We don't have to be divided.
exactly. And that's kind of the second part of this is like, what exactly is fear? And this has been my experience with fear. Fear happens when there is either a actual threat to my being or a perceived threat to either my being or the way my life is at the moment.
Mm.
When that threat is perceived, whether it actually be a tiger, about to chase me down, or me thinking that my mom is going to react a certain way to a conversation, there's a set of reactions that happen within the body. Like there's this physical response, but there's also an energetic response. And what I've noticed, particularly in me, but I see it in other people too, is like if I do not pay attention to that response and the energy that is provided, then what generally happens is, left unaware into its own devices, it evolves into anger, into frustration, into cynicism, into all these what we talk about as negative emotions. But it's really just energy, and that energy can be used for anything. Like that energy, to me, fear is the energy that can allow us to face our problems if we use it as such.
Yes. Fear can be every moment. It can be our opportunity. It could be our compass. Fear can be our compass for growth.
Yes.
When we actually see what the fear is, when we actually lean in and see it, we can create something else in the space in the illusion that it took up.
Exactly.
All right, let's bring everybody back on the table here for our closing here. Hello, everybody. We got full house.
Oh, we got some echo from you too. Who's your speaker close to the mic?
Nothing.
Nadine's not here. Somebody have a speaker. There's a little bit of feedback.
If somebody's at the same house, it'll have feedback.
I don't hear it anymore. There we go.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So I just want to say thank you again for everyone sharing. This is again, for everybody who's viewing, this is day 2 of our just miraculous, amazing board of directors, people who are joining hearts and hands with our One Day movement, bringing this vision into a reality and into fruition. And it's been amazing just from my perspective, how all of you have fallen out of the sky, seemingly, of just this getting behind this vision and taking it on and taking responsibility and bringing it to this world and this new conversation. And I just wanted to just offer up a chance for us to all join at the round table here, and anyone would like to comment on what any other directors have said in their shares.
Well, I would like to say that Matthew, I think that you're really right on. In all the years that I've worked with people, I think fear is such a dominant force in their lives that the deeper they go into it and the more they process it, the more they learn about themselves and the more they are less afraid. It's almost like, because we do a lot of process work and on weekends and things, and it's like they all of a sudden discover that what they thought was so immobilizing was not at all, that they had made it much larger than what it was. And so I really appreciate that. Sophia, I really want to know about your city. Where is it located? You know, where is this location going to be?
Absolutely. So our first pilot city is going to be in the Phoenix, Arizona metro area. And then right after that, we'll be going nationwide, and then we'll be going global soon after that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Ted, all the years that I've been in the mental health business and consulting with organizations, I've seen a lot of different kinds of issues that have arisen. And I think one of the things I know is when I talk about my issues and when I know that people will love me no matter what is happening within me that I need help with, then I can heal. So I appreciate your courage and your commitment. And I'll be happy to talk to you anytime.
Thank you. I really appreciate it and look forward to taking you up on that. Like I said, for me, my support system is most important. And in the early years, trying to deny and being ashamed of it and just pushing it away whenever I had my ups and downs, it caused some major issues. It really, I want to say, has ruined my life at times, but ultimately it made me better because I had to overcome so many struggles. And yeah, I hope that me sharing can inspire others to reach out when they have their issues, whether they do have, you know, like I said, everyone has their ups and downs, whether you have a mental issue or not, you're going to have that in life. So having a good support system around you will really help out.
Thank you. And you know, one of the things is I've learned over there too, that is that everybody has some kind of mental issues. They're just different degrees of them. And so if I can just accept that my degree of something may be less than another's or more than another's, it doesn't matter. We can still work together collaboratively to find joy within each of us. And I know that's a possibility. And so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And Satya, yes, I heard your speech many times.
Very mute. Yeah, sorry. Come again, please.
I just said I've heard your comments several times, and I appreciate them. They're giving me more perspective about the one-day movement. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to tell something about Matthew, what you said about fear. All you need to do is just take the F out from the fear and put H in there. Just here, then problem is solved. We have like 5-6 psychologists here in the team.
That's a great thing to point out. I hope that everyone can see that the power behind the foundation of One Day, the diversity that we have on the team, and the fact that the authenticity, just Abram, you really, like, it's the leadership from top down that's pouring out to the community. And I really am proud of that, proud of being a part of this group that championing this movement. We also are a piece of that movement. We all come from different walks of life. And mental health has always been a huge part of what is going on right now in the world, and even more so now with the pandemic. There's not a single soul that's not being affected by this in some way or another. And Simon Sinek, who is one of the top TED Talk speakers, has a New York Times, a lot of best-selling books, one of them called Start With Why. He recently came on and he talked about himself and revealed how the pandemic hits people at different points in times. And he talked about when it hit him and what it looks like. And there's some statistics that are fairly alarming about how those that had some mental health challenges, how it's being exacerbated right now. And those that never had experienced any magnitude, how it's gone into overdrive. And we're seeing that. And it comes out in beautiful ways sometimes, but it also comes out in where protests turn into riots, right? And so I think it's an opportunity for all of us to really pull for what's good, look for the helpers, and also be just extra kind, because that's one thing that we can all control. is our kindness factor and really just check in with people.
My prediction is regarding this pandemic, there may be a food shortage coming soon. That's my prediction. Not a worry. I'm not in a fear.
Well, the great thing about that is there's plenty of food. If you've ever stepped one foot in Costa Rica, there's more than enough food. You're good. The world's good. Satya, you might, yeah, you need to.
Thank you so much. That's a beautiful conversation, and it just makes me think of, what's possible. I love what you're saying. We do have a lot of psychologists on our team, and it's like, what is possible when we all can recognize our own divine expression of the universe in ourselves? What could we do? What problems could we solve when we are, instead of focused on this old conversation of division and separateness, if we actually joined with a shared intention of making the world better for my neighbor and their family. And it's like, and if the world's better for my neighbor and their family, and if they're safe, if my neighbor and their family are safe and my neighbor and their family are healthy, that comes back to me. And I think that's kind of what this is. The whole foundation is, the golden rule. There's a lot of different forms, depending on your spiritual context, Jesus, loving your neighbor as yourself, or every spiritual tradition, even secular organizations have some version of the golden rule, and I say it's time to stand in that, to actually practice what we preach. We all say the golden rule is important to us, but why not actually stand in that and actually see how it benefits us when we love our neighbor? Because ultimately loving our neighbor is loving ourselves. It is loving each and every one of us. And the opposite, if we hate our neighbor, we're hating ourselves, because it's like, I guess the example is like, you can't, if you put just a little bit, how much poison can you put in a punch bowl before you drink some of it? It's like, no matter how much toxicity we have, and whether it's our physical space, our emotional, our psychological, our spiritual space, no matter what, we all experience the same repercussions of that toxicity, whether we can see it or not. And if we actually take responsibility for ourselves and just for each other, seeing, continuing the work of Gandhi, of King, of Jesus, of all the people who are just saying the same thing, is just treat others the way you want to be treated. It sounds simple, and it is simple, because we have the choice right now, and right now, and right now. And it's like every moment we have the choice to stand in seeing ourselves for who we truly are, and seeing each other for who we truly are. And that's joined with our shared human connection, with our experience. We all have things. We all have, as Matthew's saying, we all have fears, but ultimately those fears are there to point us to something to grow. And one day is a community journey that we are growing together. We are facing our fears. We are facing those old conversations and saying, enough. We've tried that. This is not about just getting rich, getting famous, getting a lot of money and toys, and then just dying and leaving the world without ever seeing or discovering ourselves. It's like, I don't believe we're that small, that's the point of my life, and that's the point of your life, that we just have to fight over having enough, as opposed to creating something beautiful, that enough is out of the conversation. There's no such, the competition has nothing on collaboration, because collaboration is where we all have our unique gifts, our unique contributions, our unique genius, that brings us to a new level of collaboration, that we can actually excel what we even thought was possible, because there's no limitation. We're not focused on what we can't do and what we don't have. We have so much when we actually look what we do have, and we actually focus on that. And that's where One Day is this community journey. We each plant seeds of possibility, seeds of joy, seeds of love, of compassion, of gratitude, of authenticity. We plant these seeds, and we take responsibility as a community to water, give sun to these seeds. and we all reap the benefits. We all get to smell the flowers. We all get to taste the fruit of that. And that's what inspires me. That's what brings me. It's just that what moves me, because we have that possibility at every moment. Even when we forget it, it's still there. Even if we can't see it because we're clouded by fear, or we're clouded by anger or resentment, we still have that possibility. And if we hold ourselves accountable as a community, as a world, as a species, as humanity, everything is possible. And I just so thrilled that we have such an amazing team joining hearts and hands with us. I'm just so inspired by each of you. And this is only the beginning. And we're up to big things, and we're standing for everybody in this world to have a world that works for us all, that we're not, like as Matthew said, we're not just surviving, we are thriving beyond our imagination of what we think is possible. Thank you all so much for being here. And that's what our one day vision is. It is humanity rising in a connected world, with each person's unique contributions being valued and magnified through a higher level of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. And that's why we say our tagline is "One day is today." We cause this future right now. This is a choice you have and I have, in every moment, every breath we take, every action we make or don't make. We can stand in that. And when everybody sees and recognizes that we all want to stand in that, that's when we can actually do something amazing, where we actually see benefiting those around me that I don't even know is benefiting me. But thank you all. I just want to offer, if anyone had any last words before we close. Anyone like to say anything?
Just thank you. I love you all, and I really look forward to seeing
you
you
all.
together.
Glad to be here.
Sorry, Matthew.
I'd like to say something in that I thank each of y'all today to get to really learn who and who you are and what's most important to you. And I was thinking about something that one of the things I've appreciated most is that I consider myself a free woman today, because I fully conceive and consciously really execute all the moments of my life. And I'm not saying I do it all the time, because I think I'm human, but I think that's what we're all talking about. Because Ted's doing that. You know, Matthew's doing it. Sophia's doing it. Abraham's doing it. We're all consciously executing, you know, the everything that we are, every moment of our life and our day. And if I can keep remembering that, Abram, we will build a world that is very different. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And so for me, I would love to say that one day is it's the birthing right now of all the creativity that we're about to witness from all the people that had all this amazing time, that they got rid of that excuse. Well, I work so much, you know, and I'm traveling, and all these people with all this beauty and creativity and art and stuff that's been stored up, it's about to get unleashed on this world. And we are going to see development within and futuristic stuff like the likes that we have never seen. It's going to be a new renaissance. That's what one day means to me right now.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's always darkest before the dawn.
Right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you all for watching. This is the wonderful people we have surrounding us. So many exciting things are to come. I'm just thrilled and honored just to be on this journey with you all, and I'm just so excited about what's to come. To all of you viewing, you know, I love you. Be safe, be well. We'll see you next week. We're returning to a normal schedule with the virtual stage, but this is our board of directors, and we're only just getting started. So thank you all for being with us. And thank you, Matthew, Sophia, Ted, Satya, Jacqueline, Nadine, and the other directors who are on Tuesday, Judy, Heather, Shiva Kumar. You know, there's so many amazing people. This is just getting started, and we're already global, and we haven't even opened the doors. Thank you all.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
And namaste.
Namaste.